I have a friend named Alan Cooper, who has been serving in the U.S. Coast Guard for almost 12 years. He's not the type to exaggerate or believe in supernatural things. He's straightforward, practical, and someone who thrives on discipline and order. He told me the story back in 2025, but the incident actually took place in 2021 when he was sent on an 11-day maintenance assignment to an old lighthouse. The lighthouse was called Crowder's Rock Light, located far off the coast of Maine, out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It stood alone on a jagged rock island, unreachable except by boat or helicopter. There was no power grid, no plumbing, and barely any cell signal. Normally, this kind of post is a solo assignment, but due to some strange electrical malfunctions a year before, the Coast Guard decided to send a second man with him, Jake Holloway. The first few days went by without incident. The two of them cleaned corroded equipment, checked the backup batteries, refueled the diesel generator, and ensured the beacon was working correctly. At night, they'd read, cook simple meals, or play cards. But on the fourth night, something strange happened. Around 2 a.m., Alan woke up feeling an intense pressure in the air, like the stillness right before a thunderstorm. The sky outside was clear, but something didn't feel right. When he checked the light, he realized it wasn't spinning. The beacon, which is supposed to rotate continuously, had stopped. He woke Jake, and they climbed the tower together. The gear system was still running, but something had jammed the mechanism. It was a large, wet piece of black fabric, coated in slime and reeking of sea rot and mildew. It looked like part of an old coat or blanket. They pulled it free, tossed it outside into wind, and chalked it up as a freak accident. But the next night, it happened again. This time, the fabric was smaller, a faded red shawl, toward the edges, soaked in seawater, with tiny barnacles clinging to it. That's when things stopped feeling like coincidence. They checked every entry point. The doors were locked, the windows sealed. No birds, no wind, no way anything could have gotten in. From that night onward, they barricaded the staircase with heavy crates and padlocked the beacon room after the final check. Then came the seventh night. Alan was drifting off when he heard Jake whispering, but not to him. He was whispering into a dark corner of the room, saying disconnected, nonsensical things, like he was talking to someone who wasn't there. When Alan asked what he was saying, Jake looked confused and claimed he hadn't said anything. Later that same night, Alan found him sitting by the window, staring out at the rocks. Jake quietly said, "I saw someone down there last night standing on the rocks. They were watching us. Then the light passed over, and they were gone." After that, Jake's behavior worsened. He became withdrawn, barely slept, and started muttering about noises in the walls and voices coming from the stairwell. Then came the ninth night. Alan heard slow, deliberate footsteps on the stairs, not creaking from wind, actual footsteps. He looked over and saw Jake standing at the bottom of the staircase, staring upward. "Did you go up there?" Alan asked. Jake replied, "No." "Did you?" Neither of them had moved. They stood frozen, listening, but the footsteps stopped. That night, they blocked the bedroom door with a table and slept with knives under their pillows. On the 11th night, the light failed again. But when they reached the top, they found the beacon room door wide open, not unlocked, but thrown open like someone had kicked it in. The room was freezing, and in the middle of it, the industrial-grade bulb had been unscrewed and placed upright on the floor. Alan said you can't just twist that bulb out by hand. It takes effort. As he stood staring at it, he felt something cold brush against his back. He spun around, no one there. Jake, pale and shaking, pointed the wall and whispered, "A hand! It came out of the wall." They ran downstairs and locked themselves in the bedroom. Jake spent the night rocking in the corner, whispering to someone only he could see. At sunrise, Alan grabbed the emergency satellite phone and called for extraction, reporting a serious equipment failure. The boat arrived in the afternoon, but here's the creepiest part. The crew told them they received a distress call at 2:12 a.m. with heavy static and a voice saying, "There's someone here with us," before the signal cut out. Alan swore he never touched the phone until daylight. On the ride back, Jake didn't say a single word. A few weeks later, he resigned from the Coast Guard. He's never spoken about what happened on Crowder's Rock again. Alan still takes on the occasional maintenance post, but he says, "I'm never going back to that lighthouse. Ever."